This is the Relationship Capital Podcast, where we talk to the top thought leaders and practitioners from around the world about how to grow your most valuable resource, your network. I'm your host, Adrian Chenault, and Relationship Capital is brought to you by your friends at Contact Mapping, the #1 app for building your network. Hey everybody, it's Adrian from Contact Mapping, and it is my distinct pleasure to be here with Ed Wiens today to talk with him a little bit about his network marketing career and how we can learn from what he has been so successful doing in growing your business. So Ed, thank you so much for being here. It's great to have you.
My pleasure. Great to be with you.
Good. So let's jump right in. So the ebook that we're putting together that I wanted to kind of ask your first question from is really thinking about somebody who is looking to be more effective growing their business by leveraging relationships in the right way. And so I'd love to just have you talk a little bit about what you have done to be able to grow business, your relationship successfully as you've grown your own business.
Well, that's a big tee up for a lot of conversation, a lot of response. You know, this business is oftentimes referred to as relationship marketing, and I like that term because it really does speak to the fact that a lot of what our business consists of is indeed built out of relationships. Yeah, there's people who are sort of no names that are on the internet and so forth, but the real leaders arise in this business out of the context of relationship. And that's where I think people can distinguish how we come across, what we offer, what we provide in a sincere way, sincere package, as opposed to just the stuff that's out there in the marketplace where there is no relationship. It's all just profit driven. I think at some point, if you don't move beyond just the financial bottom line in this business and do this for other reasons that are not just strictly profit or ego motivated, then you're gonna run into some dead ends in this business that you'll avoid if you truly operate out of a sense of true relationship with people.
I 100% agree. And so, thinking about somebody who is maybe nearer to the beginning and trying to sort of follow down that pathway, what would you say is your #1 piece of advice for somebody like that to go about doing it the right way?
A topical drum that I have beat for 20 plus years in this business is the contrast between fishing and hunting. I was born in Alaska in fishing country. I love to fish. And I spent 20 years of my initial career in full-time minister of missionaries' kids. So I kind of grew up around that culture. So I don't want to necessarily get preachy here, but I am going to refer to a couple of things. And I sometimes some people would say sacrilegiously, to me it's just jokingly, referred to the first networker who only sponsored 12.
That's right.
Blue collar kind of folks. And he told them this. He says, he could have said, I'm going to make you all carpenters, or I'm going to make you farmers or potters or whatever, but he chose, I'm going to make you fishers. He said, I'm going to make you fishers of men. And of course they were fishermen, and they were using nets. So they were probably the original net workers. And so, but he said, I'm going to make you fishers of men. And I think that the whole idea of fishing has an analogous connection to our business in this way. When you're hunting, you're typically pursuing somebody, a prey, something, with something it has no interest in whatsoever. But when you're fishing, you're trying to attract what you're after to you with something that looks attractive to the fish. And I think sometimes in this business, we need to put our hunting gear away and get our fishing gear out. Into the grocery aisle and somebody spots you that's one of your friends and then they disappear. You've probably been hunting them and they're running from you. Where our job is to try to make whatever it is that we're promoting or marketing in some way relate to a need or desire that the prospect has. And often that only comes out of relationship. If you're just out there constantly just kind of firing away, shooting stuff out, you just need to pause and find out, what are folks interested in? What does this person need? Maybe it's the financial side of your business. Maybe it's the product side of your business. It's the service side of it, whatever. Find out what people need and build relationship. And out of the context of relationship, people are much more receptive to your message than if they just perceive you as a hunter. That makes sense?
It makes perfect sense. And it's so interesting. I've heard that analogy many times of being more of a fisher's mentality, or maybe a farmer's mentality, is something that you hear a lot of times. But I had never thought about the bait and the idea of putting out something attractive. And, you know, I would even take that a little bit further. And you kind of talked about this, right? That it's not one size fits all, right? You can't just, it's not like you have a tackle box that has only one lure in it and you just throw that one out, then it works for everybody.
You know, and if you're out there, if your tackle box is loaded with stuff that's based on your agenda, you're going to be tossing the frying pan into the line, into the water, saying, hop in. And that is, the fish has no interest in your agenda. Your agenda does not matter. It's all about the fish, and you better find out what's the hatch, what's working in that area. And it may not be your favorite lure, but you know, once you figure it out and make the slight adjustment, then you'll go from futility to fruitfulness.
I love that. And yes, that is a fantastic way to think about it. And it's so important for us to realize how, even with the best of intentions, I think a lot of times we're so excited about our business. We're so excited about our product. We're ignorance on fire, as they say. And it's great to be on fire, but if you're on fire and it's not a fire that they're, if they don't want to be close to that fire, then you got a problem. And so learning to show up differently is
and there's a subtlety. There's a subtlety involved with very, very successful fishing. I have fished some of the highest level, most exclusive fly fishing terrain places that there are. And listen, with those kind of trophy fish, you don't go running up to the bank announcing your presence and say, "Hey, I'm here." There is a subtlety involved to be effective when you're really truly going to fish for the kind of fish that the most people in this business are looking for. And you've got to go fishing. You can't just expect the fish to come to you. The best day fishing I ever had in my life with one of my friends, we flew from the mainland to Anchorage, Alaska. We flew from Anchorage in a smaller plane down south to the Kenai area. We got in a float plane and flew across the inlet and landed on the edge of a lake, got in a helicopter, and they put us down on the bank of a river. Man, we went fishing. You have to go where the fish are. They're not going to come to you. And so whether that's virtually getting out there today or just getting out and mixing with people in the community and developing relationship, it's called go fishing for a reason. And if it was easy, it'd be called catching. But it's called fishing because there's difficulty and there's skill and there's challenge involved.
That's absolutely right. And so you touched on that just then about how, the favorite fishing holes, so to speak. So, within a community, within the areas that you run in, what are some places that you have found that you have had the most fun and the most success developing relationships and networking for your business?
It's any forum where there's people. I've been involved in Service Club, been involved in Kiwanis, been in Rotary meetings, Rotary events. Obviously, belong to a church. We know people through our church affiliation. Connected with other nonprofits that are kind of missions oriented. That's kind of hot button for me. Just any place. We have a downtown association where we lived and moved into a condo downtown. So we go to the events that are part of the downtown business community. One of the leaders in town approached us about sponsoring a dinner theater. We sponsored a dinner theater. It put us in front of people again. So it's just mixing where people are. This is a people business. It's not a product business. It's a people business. And so you got to go where people are. Obviously, there's a lot of things today that are different. When I got started in this business, Adrian, it was before you were born, I'm sure. I'm just guessing here. But it was in the age of fax machines and payphones. Yeah. And, of course, the communication technology that's come along today has made our world so much smaller. It's made our reach so much more expansive. And I love that aspect of it. But still, there's never going to be a substitute for face-to-face relationships. And I get on a plane frequently to meet our people in different countries, different continents, because there's no substitute for that. So just get out where people are. Make yourself, I can tell you in any organization, I come from the nonprofit world, in any city, if you're listening to this or watching this, in your community, there are organizations looking for volunteers. They're looking for people who want to get involved, who will help serve, help build, help do some things. Just get out there and begin to make a difference in your world. It will put you around people. And that's the business that we're in.
Exactly right. And I think kind of the fun thing you hit on is what you really talked about as you were sharing about that was really your passions, and you've just been able to connect your passions to the people around. And if you can start learning to develop that curiosity and that love of connecting with people as you go and plug into whatever is your, the passion of your own heart, you could take those ideas anywhere. And that's a really neat thing about this business.
And show genuine interest in them. And obviously at some point, very often that's reciprocated. They come back and want to know kind of what you do, what your world consists of. But it really oftentimes spurs out of the genuine interest that you show in them first.
Absolutely.
Relationship.
Absolutely. Cool. So Ed, maybe just to kind of widen out just a little bit more, maybe beyond just developing relationships, you have been in the network marketing profession for many years and have had success, through that whole period. And, I think a lot of perspective on how it has been done well in the past and how it's done well today. What are one or two other things that you think are really important for somebody who is trying to develop themselves and maybe break through to success for the first time in this business?
Well, you figure out why. Figure out your why. That's a drum that's beat frequently in our business is determine your why. And if you can't, if you can lock into why it is that you're here in the first place, what your mission and purpose is in your life. I mean, I carry a little card in my little pocket in my phone. I can pull it out anytime. I do it frequently. And basically, it's my purpose. It's why I'm here on this planet, I feel. And until you can put some identify some of that, you'll never do the work. You'll never do the work that it takes to get to any place worthwhile. There's an old saying that says, task without vision is drudgery. Think about it. Task without vision is drudgery. If you don't have a goal, I don't care if you're an athlete, if you're a performance, if you're a musician, or whatever, if you don't have a reason why you'll pay the price, you won't pay the price. It's to stand on that little center podium. It's to get the accolade. It's to play to a full audience at some point. It's to get the contract. It's to get your picture on a box of Wheaties. Whatever it is, that's your motivation. If you can't identify what that is, you'll not do the work. This is network marketing, and it's not necessarily easy. It's not easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. And so if you can't identify what's the outcome, I got a friend right now that his passion has been to help build houses for impoverished people in Tanzania. He is there right now, tearing down an old house, building a new home, small, humble, still by our standards, but it's brand new. It's palatial for their standards. And that's part of his hot button. And interestingly, while he has been there, he has rank advanced in his business. While he's unplugged from the internet, he's built a foundation, but he's living out his why. And if you can't identify what that is, you'll never do the work. And the flip side of that saying is this, that vision without task is deception. You're just kidding yourself. So figure out why you want to do this. And if that's an important enough thing for you to identify, I don't care what it is, whatever cause it is, there's typically a price tag attached to it. It costs money to do whatever it is that you want to do, whether it's, save the earth, save the whales, or whatever it is. There's a price tag attached to it. So figure out why, and then roll up your sleeves and get to work.
Fantastic. I think that's great. And, I think you drove the point home, because I think sometimes you hear that develop your why, and you don't hear why you're supposed to develop your why or why it's so important to do so.
Hey, we're designed to be purpose driven. That's what distinguishes us from every other created species that lives by instinct. We don't live by instinct. We are designed to be purpose driven. And if we can identify what our purpose is, we just wander around without a target, with all this potential and capacity, and oftentimes just run out of fuel and implode. So we have to have a purpose. That's why we're here.
Love it. That's fantastic. Ed, thank you.
So figure out what yours is and get after it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Ed, thank you so much for doing this, man. It's great to have you on here. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with our tribe here. And I know everyone's going to get a lot out of this. So thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation.
Great to meet you. Thanks for the opportunity. God bless everyone.
All right. Take care.